YouTube. I feel like this is like the most important video I'm ever gonna record, so I'm taking it very seriously. As someone who's struggled with confrontation, the need to please everyone, and setting boundaries in my 20s, I want to pass on the advice that I wish I had when I was that age. Whether or not I would have listened to it is a different story, but now I'm 34. And I promise you the advice I'm outlining today or providing you is something that I feel like would have changed my life. So number one, don't quit your job unless you have a backup plan, ideally. I've been seeing a ton of stuff on the internet about I quit my job, or I quit my job without a backup plan, or I'm quitting my job today. And while that sounds super empowering and like very much enticing for a lot of people who are unhappy with their current employer, that's not realistic. It might be realistic for some because we don't know what their situation is. However, just remember that the internet, it's fact and it's fiction. So the people that are you seeing that are making these videos might A, not be quitting, B, have some sort of trust fund, savings, living at home with parents. You don't know their situation. And I'm not saying you should stay in a toxic situation, but what I'm saying is quitting your job is very rash, especially in your 20s. So you're probably wondering, okay, well, I hate my job and I hate my employer and I hate everybody I work with. And I feel like when I go to work, I want to die. What would you recommend to me? And my advice to you would be, that sucks. I feel you. I've been there. It's the worst. Just stick it out. Update your resume. Let's start updating your resume. Google ways to make your resume sound smart. I've done it. Update your resume, apply to jobs. I can guarantee you the feeling of applying to jobs will get you to you'll feel empowered. You'll feel like you're more in control of your future. It will help. It won't make the toxicity go away from work. I get that, but it will help. It will, and you will find something, because I can promise you the anxiety that you're going to have not knowing where your next meal is going to come from, or your next, where your next rent payment is going to be stressful. And as much as we all just want to be like I want to get out of here. I'm burnt out, I'm tired, I feel like I'm constantly in demand and I have no time for myself. I feel like I'm working to survive. I'm just working to pay Peter, to pay Paul, all of those things. We all feel it, okay? We all get it. But a lot of the people that you're watching on the internet, they get income from YouTube or they get income from Instagram because you're watching them. They're a thing already. So it's different. And just try to remember that. Sometimes the internet's positive for a lot of reasons, but it can also be overwhelming too, because you're thinking, well, I just want to do that too. And like I said, while that sounds incredible, it's like, okay, take a breath. It's okay. It will get better. I can guarantee you it will get better. Sometimes quitting your jobs in your 20s can lead to a lot more problems in your 30s. And you're thinking, well, what? How? I have lots of time to make up that money. I have lots of time to kind of get my feet wet. And your credit could suffer in your 20s, which is going to follow you into your 30s. You could spend a lot of money in your 20s into your savings, which is going to follow you into your 30s. You could have a gap in your resume. It's going to follow you later in life. Just take a deep breath. You got this. Storms don't last forever, and there usually is a rainbow afterwards. I promise you. Number two, promise yourself that you will save $100 a month. I say that and I know exactly what you're thinking. I don't even have $2 to buy a coffee. How do you expect me to scrounge up an extra 100 to save? And the answer is I don't. I don't expect you to come up with, passive income to try to save an extra 100 a month. I get it. What I kind of expect you to do, or what I would recommend you to do, or my advice would be try to cut out things that are already in your life. And I know, the Starbucks coffee, the eating out, etc., etc. If you can save even $50 a month, 100's ideal, but that can come. That's fine. Start with 50. That's fine too. But if you can save $50 a month from the time of 25 years old to 65, your life when you retire and you're older will look drastically different. Number three, sunscreen. Pretty self-explanatory. You may feel like your 20s are just flying by, like super quick. Well, wait till you get to your 30s and beyond, because it goes even faster. And you had this, or you probably have now, this soft, supple, baby-like, voluptuous, plump skin, and then you wake up one day and it's looking a little dull. All of that's going to come with aging, and aging is beautiful. There's no question. However, sunscreen really helps protect that barrier, and it's something that when I was in my 20s, it wasn't cool to wear. My mom would always say, put your sunscreen on. Wear your sunscreen. Did you put your sunscreen on? And I'd be like, yeah. But I didn't. I would even go into the tanning beds. And I'm not necessarily paying for it yet, but I can see early signs of sunspots, discoloration. I can see some wrinkles in here, up here. And I know that that's, like I said, just aging in general, and it's not necessarily due to sun, but the sun will speed that process right up. So wear sunscreen. And if you're blessed with gorgeous genes where your family is just aging like fine wine, still put it on. Now, 4 and 5 are really close to my heart because I still struggle with it in my 30s. So if you've made it this far into the video, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, you know, it really does help the channel. I'm brand new, but I'm actually really enjoying it. And that's why I did this video early on, because if I don't hang on YouTube long enough to make it, I just really felt like, I don't know, if I could pass on my big sister advice to somebody, then it was worth it. So thank you so much. So popping in to number 4, like I said, this is a big one. You are not responsible for other people's happiness. Point blank. Even in my 30s, like I said, I'm still working on it. At the end of the day, all you have is yourself. Your own happiness comes before anybody else's. And sometimes it's the hardest decisions we have to make, is being selfish. And that's a really hard thing to come to terms with for our own mental health and well-being and quality of life. Cutting people out, saying no, which is an answer, by the way, and remembering that your number one is going to change your life. It just is. It's going to change your life, you know, because it applies to family, friends, relationships, work. You know, I'm a fixer, and I always have been. I like to fix people. I find broken people, and then I like to fix them. And no matter how hard you try, you cannot fix them. You can't fix them, because at the end, they're responsible for their own happiness too. And like I said, hard lesson. You might get burned along the way, but if you can really take a moment with yourself and think to you, it sounds so funny, you know, how is this going to serve me? And be okay with the answer when the answer is inevitably it's not, then you're going to be on the right track, and you're going to be just fine. Because I'll tell you, there's people in life that are going to take advantage of you, and at the end of the day, you have to remember that you come first. And then number 5, we accept the love that we think we deserve. It's pretty powerful. This is a quote from The Perks of Being a Wallflower. It's a book by Stephen Chbosky, and the sooner you realize this, the sooner the better. You know, your love that you have for you is your greatest love story, and you come first. And the sooner that you realize that all the heartache and all the stuff that you endure and you put yourself through, you always come out as your own person, like it's you at the end of it. It doesn't matter who comes and who goes in your life. It doesn't matter who hurts you or who helps you, or it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, it's you standing there. And if you don't love yourself, how are you going to expect anyone else to love you? And I think this is the biggest advice to young women, especially in their 20s, but also women in general. We endure so much. There's so many things coming at us. Amazon ads, specifically, and influencers, and, you know, buy this and buy that. And if you don't buy this, you don't love yourself. And if you don't wear this, you don't love yourself. If you don't buy this expensive skincare, you probably don't like your skin. It just continues to just go on and on and on. And I mean, sometimes this quote, you accept the love we think we deserve, applies to people, right? We always think toxic relationships are the main cause of this, but it's not. It's all of the other stuff I just mentioned. You know, the people constantly, I don't want to say putting you down, because that's not what I mean, but I do feel like sometimes when we're on the internet, it can be super overwhelming. I can't tell you how many times I've swiped a story on Instagram to just find another ad. Like, ad. And they do make me feel like I'm less than if I don't buy it, you know? Like Stanley's. I don't even like my Stanley. I bought my Stanley because I felt like, well, everybody else is doing it. I've got to, you know, I think I deserve this. I love myself. It doesn't benefit me at all. And I think when you apply it to all kinds of little things like that, nuances, it just gets easier and easier and easier to just put yourself first and be like, I don't need that because I have X, I have this, I have my worth, I have my, I kind of went about that advice in a different kind of way, but I think it's because it's really tough. It's really hard today in society to find love for yourself because you're constantly being bombarded with what you need in order to feel it. And truly, it just comes within you. You know, I believe in the daily affirmations. Do I do them all the time? No. Did I do them in my 20s? No. But I also didn't have access to YouTube the way people do now. So I don't know if I would have. If I can go back in time, would I be a different person today because of it? Maybe. So that's why I'm telling you that we accept the love we think we deserve. And until you love yourself, you can't truly let anyone else in, or you'll always be searching. Well, these 5 points of advice took me a long time to articulate. I got emotional a couple of times. You know, I get emotional thinking about my 20s and things that I would have changed. And they always say, like, well, you can't change the past, you know, but you can't change the past, but you can wish different things. You know, I'm still human, as are you. And the more time, you know, we spend on our physical looks, and like I said earlier, being bombarded by ads and you need this to feel this, it just becomes overwhelming. And I do think it's free to invest in yourself and love yourself. It's hard, trust me, it's hard, but just remembering that you're special, as cheesy as it sounds, is going to give you more value than anything on the internet can give you. So thank you for watching. Just remember that you are your greatest asset. We'll see you soon.